Let your monkeys out of the cage. Bring them with you, or let them out. Let them go have some fun.
Or watch the commercial that pops up when their stream starts over.
Oh, has that been actually doing that lately?
Yep, I'm doing it right now for me.
Oh, yeah, that's good old Twitch. You got to get their money. Well, we'll go ahead and get right into the stream screen for those people that have the stuff blocked or don't feel like watching it. Hey everybody, welcome back. We're in after hours. And after, well, it looks like we've already got about 18 people all raring to go. Okay, great. Well, on the subject that was brought up initially, that I said we'd kind of go after, resin printers. Yeah. Um, Part of what you just ordered it to be here on Monday?
Same with me. Waiting for mine on Monday.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. Um, well, I'll be able to help you guys out along the way. You guys got any questions or anything like that, I'll be able to walk you through stuff. Just a little bit of background too. I'm also working with Box. You guys will become familiar with that software. That is the slicer. I have friends that are in development and working with that company right there. Um, Hopefully, a little bit further down the road, I'm hoping to get one or two or a couple of the Box developers in on the stream to come in and say hello, talk about some of the things that are going to be involved with that. The company that handles Box does other things too. They are making and producing boards for those who wish to upgrade, update, build, or make their own resin printers. But please, God, guys, don't drag me down that rabbit hole just yet. It's not that I don't know how that stuff is done or what is involved with it. I know more than enough to be dangerous with it. The issue with it is right now for the price. As with the FDM printers, the printers that you're going to get now are going to pretty much work out of the box, and it's senseless to try building one from scratch. You can jump right in for a couple of $100 with resin printers right now, and um, go with the proven performers that are out there. There's other channels, other reviewers that um, have good solid information on them. One channel in particular for those that are really interested in getting into the printing side of it, the 3D printing side of it for doing casting and things like that. The guy's channel is VOG. His long name is the Vegetable Oil Guy. He's a guy from Australia. He's got a really good channel. He's kind of starting or had started just not too long ago where you guys are going to be starting with regards to getting into the resin printing and how you can apply this stuff to casting. Um, I'm kind of like beyond that point, but when I'm not around or I'm not able to answer questions or anything like that, and I don't want to be a person who just reproduces content either. I can't stand that.
Reproduction. I'm sorry.
I mean, we're going to be covering a lot of the same subjects. You're going to be able to learn about and get information on other channels with and everything like that. But I'm just going to be giving you my take on stuff, how I do things. And I'm sure along the way too, you guys are going to find some things out, and you guys may, because you're new, you guys are going to be able to teach me a few things too that maybe I hadn't considered or something I haven't tried within reason. So
Here's something I want to ask that's been bothering me with resin printing
mhm.
and supports. Why don't people cut the supports off before they cure it?
What ends up happening is with resins, hold that, yeah, well, I'll get to that, but don't let me forget right after this. One of the other guys had a question, or he mentioned water washable resin, and I really want to touch base on that before you guys jump in and start involving yourself with that stuff. Um, the supports, cutting the supports before curing. What happens after the prints are cured? And I use this term loosely only because it's being used in a comparison sense. Compared to a uncured UV cured model, they become brittle. And when you go to snip off in a common practice, you'll see on a lot of other channels, a lot of other guys doing it. The same nippers that we use for FDM printing for snipping supports off and clipping stuff,
Yeah.
a lot of people use, and I do too, we use those same things for clipping supports off of models. The problem with that is when you have a tendency, especially when you're first learning, you get too close to the model. And unlike FDM, which kind of has a squish and a give to it, when you crank down and you squeeze on the supports, the uh, the resin will shatter and fracture sometimes. If you ever seen anybody doing like flint knapping or something like that, you hit it in a corner and it'll actually shatter all the way across the piece. It's kind of the same concept indirectly how that ends up working. And that's why most of us who work with the models prefer to take the supports off before it's cured. Um, I try to avoid using those clippers. I think they even include a set of those with the printers you guys are getting. I think they got that in the kit.
I believe so.
Yeah. I'll just warn you ahead of time, don't get too close to the model. The best tool, yeah, the one of the best tools that you'll have in addition to those nippers is going to be a good old fashioned X-Acto knife. And don't be afraid to leave a little nub and invest in make. Hey, you can FDM print them too. Get into making. I'll throw up some of the models I got during one of the streams in the near future that we're going to be doing on this. Um, little sanding blocks, little sanding nubs, and things like that. I FDM printed a bunch of, and for all intents and purposes, they're just basically dowels, okay, with a little head on the end of it in different shapes. Some of them are pointed and some of them are rounded and things like that. And I get I get like 320 grit sandpaper, and I actually cut those little sticky back pieces of sandpaper to fit those little tools. The resin is not difficult to sand, and one of the things you're going to have to get used to with resin printing, you're going to print shit fast. Okay, you're going to look at your FDM printers, and it's like, how long do I have to wait? Um, just a quick breakdown, just to kind of make it go faster in that respect. When you're resin printing, it doesn't matter if you're doing one model or 10.
Or 10
How,
minutes amount of time.
yeah, however many that you have on the build plate, it doesn't matter. Like with FDM, because regardless, you're printing in a layer the whole
Right,
time.
all one layer.
So if you can fill that build plate up completely with models and just go freak out with it, if it says it's going to take an hour, it's going to be the same amount of time. It's going to take only an hour to print versus if you just had the same single model on there, it's still going to take an hour to print. So you'll learn to start kind of you'll slow down a little bit. You don't want to do things fast. You'll start learning to maximize the printing time that you're going to be doing
Sixty
by,
to $90 a file? Wow.
what's that now?
I'm reading bullets. He says he uses Shine Blades files. They're $60 to $90 a file. I think I might quit printing at that price.
Bullis, I can sympathize because I shouldn't be one to talk. I cringe when I looked at that, but at the same time, I've made most of my tools except for woodworking, carving chisels, and things like that. I've got some custom forged stuff that a single a single wood carving chisel costs more than the most expensive FDM printers that we've got in the market generally. So I'm not one to talk. If it's a good tool and you don't mind paying the money for it, that's great. But I go through the work that I do and everything like that for as many tools as I have to. No, maybe one of these days, you guys will actually see some video footage of the foundry area and the mold area and all that other stuff. I might drag you guys into that side of stuff. Um, Once you see how many tools that I got that are involved with it and everything like that, you'll understand why I can't find shit. And sometimes for me, it's faster. I can walk over to the lathe and I can turn out a tool faster than I can find that motherfucking one chisel or that one sander that I couldn't find. I could crank it out so much faster because, again, in a lot of cases, my time. Yeah, I was going to ask you where they were from. A lot of the stuff that I've got that is like way up there price wise is either from Japan or some of the German made stuff is up there too.
Yeah, it's a bit out of my ballpark.
And for those of us that have been involved with this, okay, hey, I'm 50 years old, guys, and everything like that. I've been collecting a lot of this shit most of my life. If I had to today all of a sudden just start fresh off with this and everything, I'd ask, I would look for somebody like me and say, do you really need this stuff? And hopefully they're nice enough, like me, that's going to turn around and say, no, you don't. Well,
Right.
would you spend it again? Yeah.
No, I'm
There's
not. It's just really pricey for a set of files, and I don't do a lot of woodworking, so there's that.
when you become a craftsman, okay, when you enjoy a hobby enough and everything, and you can basically give yourself feel good enough about the work that you're doing and stuff like that. To me, that's kind of like giving yourself presents. It's like, man,
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying.
yeah, well, but
Because I bought some expensive stuff too. I'm not gonna admit to, but
to start and everything like that, just like with
I
the
mean, I'm sure they're better than these crummy friggin' things that I got.
I got a set of those too, but mine are blue.
My Harbor Freight specials.
Hey, okay, let's not. None of us are gonna. Okay, you'll get kicked off the channel if you start hating on Harbor Freight.
I'm not hating on them. I said
No,
that
no, I,
I
I'm
shop there a lot.
I'm telling the other guys out there, Harbor Freight, man. If you're wanting to dive right into getting started with stuff and everything like that, for all the basics and everything like that, that's the place to go. Grab those 20% and 25% off coupons and give the cashiers that look like, I've got five of these coupons and I'm just going to walk out the door and walk right back in five times so I can get this 20% off. What are we going to do? Nine and a half, nine three quarters of times out of 10, they'll just actually ring you up for those 20% coupons off in a
Yep.
row with your purchase. And they can do that. Don't let them bullshit you that they can't.
Oh no, Bullis, I fully understand because even like some of the brushes that I've got now, I got crap brushes for day to day stuff, but I have some really fine detail brushes for doing my decals
Oh,
and that kind of stuff because I know if I use a crappy brush on a decal, I might be redoing it 5 seconds later. So I got the very fine brushes, and so no, I get it. I just didn't realize how expensive those files could get. It
yeah,
just kind of surprised me.
there's going to be a limit. This philosophy that we're talking about, going cheap and everything, works in a lot of things, but not everything.
Right. No,
It,
I'm not begrudging anybody that does
yeah,
kind of work that Bullis does with his modeling shows that he does take the extra steps. So don't get me wrong. I wasn't. I just.
it's all boner fest to me, man. It's like when
I
I
mean, I wish I would have those kind of funds to play with those, but it's like, well, no.
I've learned, and this is true for everything from gunsmithing tools to the machining tools to the airbrushing that I do, the miniature painting. I see Bullis mentioned Winsor Newton. Yep,
Yep.
I got Windsor sitting right over there. There are situations where the good stuff is good and pricey for a reason.
Right.
But when you're new, when you're brand spanking new, the best brush in the world, the best
Ain't
saw,
gonna do you a bit of good.
it ain't gonna make you do stuff any better, and you're actually better off learning in some cases. And I'm using this kind of as a blanket statement. You're better off using the shit stuff and doing your time with it because you'll respect a better tool a little bit better further down the road, and you'll also learn some of the tricks and nuances to just making stuff work sometimes. And you'll find by the time you get to the point where you're able to afford and handle some of these better tools and things like that, um, you'll actually find that it's like, God, my work is so much easier now, and it instead of it just being, you kind of enjoying yourself, it can kind of get erotic after a while. And that's what I meant by when it comes
Hey,
down
when I'm
time,
playing with my wood, no,
when it comes down to uh, giving yourself a present and everything like that. It's like taking yourself out on a date with a paintbrush. Well, so, yep, that's my. Hang on, guys. I gotta check WeChat. I'll be right back. Sorry, Bolus. If I can
sorry, I'm
find
trying
it.
to send a print really quick. Oh, there we go. Just send it.
Rob, when I get back, I'll get with you on airbrushes. I've got a wide range of them here I can kind of talk about. Be right back.
Oh yeah, like I said, some of the cheap brushes I like buy giant packets of these guys, which are junk. I mean, you're not gonna redo these. These get used once and then shit canned because it's like my cleaner costs more. What the hell? My cleaner costs more than the brushes do, so there's no shame in throwing out those at all. And as far as airbrushing, I'm not a good airbrusher, so I'm going to leave it to the experts to answer that question for you. Sorry. But yeah, I buy the expensive brushes like Bolos does for certain, for applications. And I know it's odd, but even like for my decal stuff, because you spend all the time making your own decal, which I make my own water slide decals on a laser printer. I even have a stupid expensive cartridge now. One of my laser cartridges costs $200 to print in white, and I have to get it from Germany. So I'm not hating on the. I just that's why certain things I spend money on and certain things I don't. So, but if I wreck one of those decals, it's like okay, that's a lot of money that went bad that I can't have. So because I do have to answer to a higher authority when I spend family money. But I am excited with the resin, so you're gonna want some kind of ventilation for that resin tacos. Just from talking with people that have them and different watching different reviews on stuff, that odor is going to be kind of strong, and you really don't want to be in an enclosed space with it. I mean, honestly, I mean, I joke about safety third, and it's more of a joke. You really not you don't want to be breathing that stuff. So you want some kind of at least bare minimum evacuator to get rid of the I'm not going to trust myself to one of those inner filters in a resin printer. In all honesty, that's why, like I said, I was talking about putting it in my kitchen, but that's because I actually have a vent for an air conditioner already installed, and I have a big exhaust fan that hooks up to it, really nice. Because I've used it for soldering, and I've used it for different painting stuff that I've done in the middle of winter because I can't go out, I can't use outside in the garage because of the temperatures. So my kitchen winds up being kind of the art area, miscellaneous catch-all for all my projects, and I have like more or less an overhead to draw all the fumes out. So that's why I was gonna set it up there. I'm gonna run it that way, so I'm not, poisoning my lungs or anything like that. I mean, I trust my own stuff I put in versus the stuff that they supply in those printers because they're going like anything. It's like getting a government contract. Who gets it? The cheapest bidder. So remember that when you're getting supplies from the government, it's like, remember, cheapest bidder got this, not the best. Always follow those rules.
Almost back, guys.
That's what I was going to do. I was going to print something to run it out through my vending system. That's the way I thought about doing it because I mean, I'm not going to go overkill, but I don't want to be stupid about it either. So I just figured, I'd rather err on the side of caution with that than and buy a cheap mic. It's not my mic causing the problems. Let's get that out there right now. This is not a cheap mic. This is an expensive mic.
Okay, early in or at the end of last stream, somebody brought up the water washable resins. I just want to get that out of the way just real quick. Um, don't be misled by water washable resins. They're not any better. The idea of washing or cleaning up the parts with water is bad because what do people have a tendency to do? They dump the water down the sink. You don't want to do that. Um, why is attached? Oh, okay. I just got sidetracked by I shouldn't read chat while I'm trying to focus on one thing.
Water washable resin.
Yeah, um, the water washable resins are just as toxic as the standard resins are. And I even hesitate to use the word toxic, but it's kind of a blanket term. A lot of the chemicals that we use day in and day, your household cleaners are toxic. Your the stuff you use in your garage, the stuff your oil, heck, you know, oil is carcinogenic in the right situation. Um, just like any other chemical that you're going to be working with, like, okay, you wouldn't uh, clean a toilet with lye soap with your bare hands. Don't get into the habit of messing with resin with your bare hands. And the water washable kind of gives people the false sense of security. There are some out there that, oh, it's water washable, which means I can touch it and I can play with it and I can dump it down my sink. No, don't do that. And also print quality. I've right now in my stock, I've got somewhere about 30 liters of various brands of resins. There are companies, and as a matter of fact, Charlie from Monicure He's a very popular resin brand that he supplies resins to a lot of the different printer brands out there, both as his own Monocular 3D as well as rebranding for people. He does that work too. Um, he and other companies will send me their resins to test and have sent me resins to test and work with. Early on, back in the D7 days on through the D8, Wanhao D8 days and everything like that, when we were starting to really get into multiple companies offering and producing the castable resins. See, now you guys are lucky. You guys can go on to Amazon and some of these other places, and if you look up castable resins, you'll find like handfuls of different brands and different ones that are out there. Just a couple of short years ago, that wasn't the case. There was only a few companies that were doing a castable resin, and they charged way too much money for it. Ultrasonic cleaner.
Sorry, I
Uh,
adjusted my back.
yeah. Um, we'll get
Interesting.
into the differences between the resins, but for you new guys, my recommendation is get just some of the. Okay, we talked about and we were talking about the Elegoo Mars printers, and I'm not pointing a finger at their resin because it's also their brand resin. It's good resin. Their rapid resin, especially the gray, start with that, and your learning experience will be so much better. They have a kind of like a fleshy pink colored version that sucks. Okay, sorry, Elegoo, but you guys already know too that I shoot from the hip in that particular respect. Start with the gray. All the details that you want to see on your models and things like that will stand out the way you need them to be so you can learn to make the changes to your settings. And just like with FDM, there's going to be tweaks that you're going to have to make with your resin printer, just like your FDM printers. Big difference though. My profile, say for example, with my, let's say Elegoo Mars, we all got Mars Pros. We have a Mars Pro party this weekend. All of us can get into the same room with all of our printers and use the same exact settings on all of our printers. And there can be, not all the time, but there can be, and there usually is, variations in, and I hesitate to use the term quality, but I'm going to use that term. There can be a difference in print quality or print consistency from one printer to the next because the first one, um, its UV light may be just a couple of notches weaker than or older. Unlike FDM printers, there are consumable items that you're just going to have to get used to with resin printers. The UVs burn out over time, the LCDs, and for all intents and purposes with regards to the printers we're talking about now, that LCD screen that is on the top of the printer that your vat sits on is a consumable.
Yep.
You think of your phone, you think of your tablets and things like that, and somebody who doesn't know any better is going to go, "Holy shit! I got to throw that thing away after a while." Yes, they burn out. We'll get into that later. That's a consumable item. The FEP film, the film or membrane that is put over the resin vats, is also a consumable item that you're going to have to replace from time to time. The age of the LCD, the age of the UV, and the age of the FEP film can make a noticeable and visual, if you're like really looking at detailed, difference from print A, print B, and print C. So, but it's kind of cool because one of the things you guys are going to get from this, and you don't have to go through some of the shit that some of us older people who have been working with this stuff for a while kind of had to put up with. You guys are going to be able to see firsthand really good results practically right out the door, or damn near good results right out the door. And the habits and scrutiny that you develop for looking at models and prints and things like that, that's going to carry back over into FDM for you. You're going to enjoy the experience. That's all I can say. That's all I have to say about that. How often do they need to be replaced? Which?
Well, he's talking about the Ziploc bag thing. I think that was Uncle Jesse that did that. He did that on this video on YouTube.
Well, a whole stream can be devoted to properly cleaning the models. You know, okay, wow, boy, I didn't think you guys that there'd be that many people that'd be diving into this already, but I'm not complaining either. Ziploc models in a bat. Let me finish the IPN, the water filled. I have ultrasonic.
He did it because he was using a heated version of the ultrasonic cleaner, and putting IPA into a heated chamber is not a good idea.
No,
that's why he did.
And as someone,
and then subsequently down the line, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I watched the whole video, so because I've been watching this stuff religiously before I talk to you about it. But he wound up using a simple green in the ultrasonic cleaner versus an IPA, because he said it actually did a better job of cleaning the resin. I don't know how true that is, but this is what he said.
That was the Uncle Jesse video?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there are other solvents, but those solvents aren't going to work on every resin. Okay. That's something that you're going to have to experiment with. And I can't give you a list of what works with what and what works with what immediately.
Right.
But I can say this much, that most of the time, the good old standby for the general or basic model cleaning, and this, as someone who uses ultrasonic cleaners for the casting and the jewelry making and stuff like that, it was like, great, God, I got all this stuff already when I'm getting into, I'm finally able to start doing the resin printing and stuff like that. I used the ultrasonic cleaners for about a month, and that was probably a couple hundred prints. And I got away from doing it that way because as a jeweler and as a model maker who sculpted and did things by hand and everything like that, the ultrasonic cleaners can also give you a false sense of security with regards to getting all of that resin cleaned off, and they are not as precise as people will lead you to believe. The best approach that you can take for cleaning your models is get your hands in there with your nitrile gloves on and everything like that, obviously. And the best tool that you're going to invest in, you don't have to go Winsor Newton with it, although there are Nicki Minaj level, gold-plated makeup brushes out there. The makeup brushes that the chicks use are the best thing in the world for working with these resin prints, and I've been pushing that stuff since 2016. And people kind of giggle and laugh and everything, and it's like, yeah, I got pink brushes, so what? I got pink brushes. You have a tendency with the ultrasonic cleaners, and there's different brands, different models. They either have metal baskets or plastic baskets. And I purposely threw a landmine under Taz the other day with regards to the basket differences and everything like that. He said, that he had one in plastic that he uses. And I said, so? If you have multiple models, okay, one model, if you have surfaces on the model that aren't going to be touching the sides or the bottom, just say like you've got a miniature figurine with a base on it, and if it's sitting right in the bottom of that, strainer, that'll be fine, okay? But to me, you're still not going to get the model as clean as if you did it by hand. But when you've got multiple models and you're going to start doing this, you're going to start doing full build plates, and you're going to start wanting to print multiple models at a time and have a handful of them. Well, the common human behavior is to throw them all in the ultrasonic cleaner. Well, ultrasonic cleaner, it works with cavitation, but there's also movement, there's also vibration. And as a jeweler, uh, scratches that don't make a difference to somebody who's, say, airbrushing miniature figurines or something like that, those scratches may not mean that much of a difference to somebody like that, but to a jeweler, and when you've got to recast something and buff shit out that sometimes can take hours, any scratches aren't acceptable. And because I already had that tendency built in by nature, I just carried this over
Mindset.
to my other prints. So, yeah, you were going to say, Taz?
I said mindset. You have that mindset.
And the thing about it is okay, you can do things, and I'm going to use the word sloppy. You can do things sloppy if you like, and on my expectations or my inspection levels that I standards that I set for myself basically puts me in a position to basically call anything less than what I'm expecting sloppy.
Right.
I've got miniature figurines that are like for gaming and stuff like that are resin printed, and stuff like that is fine. It's completely and totally acceptable. But just out of habit, I don't treat any of that stuff any different. I treat it all with that higher level of respect, and then that way I never have to second guess, or I don't catch myself being tired and sloppy and uh, having that happen in a situation where I don't have any more resin. Okay, this is my last shot at doing this before I can get this crap in, and I've got to get this done by Saturday, type of a thing. Yep, makeup brushes do make awesome dry brushes too. Um,
Yeah, I got
anyways,
all my stuff today. I got my resin. I got my lamp, and then I got my FEP sheets.
that brings up you mentioned the lamp and everything like that. There are curing stations out there. You can spend them if you want to spend the money on them. Fine. Any cubic makes a really good, moderately priced curing station that it does the alcohol. Um,
Yeah, I
actually,
asked you about that.
you don't need it. Okay. Like I said, when you get in, when you really realize how short of a time it takes to clean the models by hand, and when you end up with, or if you ever get a model that you've UV cured, and if you have to commit it to something like a urethane or a silicone mold for mold making and things like that, and wasted, say, 4 hours, 8 hours, or 12 hours on a mold, setting it up and everything, cracking it open, and finding out that you had underneath the armpit a little bit of uncured resin stickiness there, you'll, from the ultrasonic cleaner, hey, I left it in there for, half hour, and I left it in there for an hour. It should be totally freaking clean. Your brush could have did that in 30 seconds and you would have been all done with it. And just as a habit, I do two washes. I'll go ahead. I have a clean batch of IPA alcohol for those wondering, and then I've got a dirty batch. As soon as it comes off of the resin printer, after it's been hanging over the top of the resin printer vat, dripping off for about an hour or two, sometimes overnight. Sometimes I'll let it, I'll pull everything off and set it aside till the next morning. Whenever I get back to it, most of the resin has already dripped back off and it's back in the vat. That first pop off, when I first take it off of the build plate, that gets put into the dirty resin. Wash it with the makeup brush, get it really, what I feel is reasonably or nice and good and clean. And then at that stage, that's when I'll transfer it over to the clean IPA. And that doesn't mean that I change that every single time. It's just by separating those two. Your second bin of IPA, if there's anything left over, okay, like if you missed a spot underneath an armpit or underneath like a giant's balls or something like that, if you missed any of it, you'll actually see that little wisp in that clear IPA that, hey, there's some stuff that I missed, or in the event of a hollow model. Well, hollowing models and the ins and outs of the hollowing models is going to be a whole stream, guys, because it's a really important subject that you guys got to get used to working with and dealing with. How many of the shirts do I own? This one in particular right here, 3. How many have I worn on the streams each and every time? Probably the same 1 or 2. And that's because I'm developing a brand. I'm getting people, yeah,
Developing a brand.
it's the guy, man. Yeah, it's the guy with Odin on his chest. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, yeah, that nasty talking bastard. Yep. Hey,
I purposely changed my shirts because I know you guys are watching,
no,
and I know you watch my videos. It's like I make sure I have a different shirt on.
you'll get used to it because I have what I call stream clothes. Okay, it's kind of like suits. Guys, keep in mind, I'm naked half the time. Okay, I live in a treehouse for adults. Okay,
Things that I don't want to know. Anyway,
yeah, you do.
no, I
Yeah,
don't.
you get
I really don't.
be jealous.
If I didn't have daughters, I could walk around naked all I wanted. But I really,
Now, see, being from Hawaii and being from Asian families and things like that, they don't close the doors in the bathrooms, dude. You just get used to walking past a bathroom and seeing a. Sorry, babe. No, babe, I'm not going to go into the whole father-in-law thing. I'm just going to leave that out. Anyways, you just get used to it. It doesn't. Driving
well,
gloves?
my bathroom is so small in my house that if you close the door, you feel pretty restricted. So I don't know.
I don't have driving gloves, but if you're asking if I have the fingerless black Techno Viking gloves, yes, I do. Do I wear them all the time? Rarely. If I'm wearing them, I'm going out into public on a mission and don't get in my way.
I'm on a mission from God.
Um, Other than that, and fortunately, you guys don't see me from the waist down or anything like that. I'm usually wearing a kilt. You know, I know you guys have seen like the utility kilts and things like that.
I have a black one.
Yeah. Well, of
I love my
course, I
kilt.
have black ones and things. I got brown ones, and being a leather worker too, that's another one of the things that, as a matter of fact, my
I have a traditional one too with our tartan on it because I am Irish. So we do
that
have certain
explains a
colors.
few things
Yes.
as a boy from across the water. So, the, anyways, yeah, my day to day clothing and everything like that is so simple. Not because, hey, when I was in executive management and everything like that, I had to wear everything from business casual to suits and crap. I don't particularly care for that type of clothing. I'm a rock and roll stoner biker dude from Detroit. Okay.
Well, I was stuck wearing what? I was stuck wearing uniforms for 25 years.
Yeah. See, I
Then
quit.
maybe detective, and my boss made us wear 3-piece suits.
I quit going to Boy Scouts when I was 12.
You
So
know, how hard that was though. I never thought about like day-to-day business working. How hard it is to have different suits because my boss got mad at me. I'm like, dude, I got one suit. I'm an old Irish cop.
all
I
right.
got one suit. It's for weddings and funerals. And he was like, nope, you're going to go out and buy some suits. I was like, get the hell out of here.
I'm diving just for a second because I'm getting something specifically for Bullis. I'll be right back.
Okay.
You asked for it, buddy.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now we're going to have trouble coming. But yeah, I never realized how hard it was. Those guys that work in business with those suits, because I would get crap from my boss all the time. What, like, you just wore that shirt the other day? I'm like, yeah, I wore the shirt the other day. It's a suit. I washed it. I think you're just playing with me. I don't think he muted me.
I didn't mute you.
You fucker, his crappy mic shit.
No, I didn't mute you.
It's Mike. Mike's giving me shit. He's like, nope, it's your crappy mic. Dude, I don't have a crappy mic. Stop it. I don't know if it's something to do with the way the call is going or what, because this thing sounds gorgeous to me when I use it. And I even use it on my my videos, so
Well, you shouldn't be listening to yourself.
I'm not. I'm being told otherwise.
Don't let them lie to you guys. Shit, when I want to find it, I can't find it. I'm trying to find it. I can't find a color one.
Did you mute yourself?
What, before?
Right now, are you muted?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know if I'm talking to you with everybody or.
Should be. I haven't done anything to.
I have a hard time watching videos, Bullas. I have a hard time editing myself in my own videos. I don't like watching myself. I'll take your word for it, but I don't know why I'm dropping up and down. It could be just the way the stream is. I don't know. Because it's showing perfect levels on my end.
Well, levels don't mean anything.
It means everything to me. Shut up. Usually I can tell especially on my stream, on my end, if there's a problem, it usually spikes and tells me. I got it set up because I used to have all kinds of audio issues back in the day when I did other streaming. Only me. I don't know why that would be, though. Unless maybe I pulled something. I can't see it being a problem, but as I tied everything down. Everything's together, so I don't know. If I didn't have sound issues, it wouldn't be a Sergeant Taz thing. It's okay. You're going to make me switch the mics, aren't you? Oh, my God. The Game of Thrones chair, too, yet. I don't know. My daughter would kill for that statue, though. In case you guys are not looking.
Well, they'll catch it. I'm bringing it up, man. Don't ruin shit, or I will mute you. There we go, Bolos. That's Saturday night.
You can't make it any bigger than that?
Oh, probably could. I just grabbed Rand. They can see them. They know the pictures. If they want a bigger signed autograph and everything like that, they can contact me after the show.
My daughter would kill for that statue, though.
Well, yeah, the cool thing about that is you can get a hold of that STL and you can print it on your resin printer.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to say, yeah, give me the link for that for my daughter because she'll love it.
Oh yeah, I got the hookups for a lot of really cool models.
I got the throne. I got the throne already. I just don't have the. I don't have Tim Curry.
Somebody did do a full blown 3D model of that image right there.
Oh yeah.
No, just Bullets giving me shit about my kilt and everything like that. I'm a medieval enthusiast. Been my whole life, pretty much.
And he always looks like a coffee cup.
You could, there isn't any reason, man, with some of the other resin printers that are starting to hit the market, build size and everything like that. The one of the other printers I got in the line right here that's going to be coming up is the Mars Saturn. The Chitu company that I had, the company that does Chitu Box, which, like I said, you guys are going to get to know here pretty soon. That company is working on producing additional boards and things like that to a point where you could pretty much, if you want to build a 14-inch or a 15-inch LCD resin printer, which basically that gives you a nice big 15-inch build size. Realistically, though, even the 10-inch that we have available right now, which is kind of a standard larger format size, given the fact that these prints go pretty fast, if you look into the same technology that Frozen has with like their Sonic, that's a whole different technology. It's basically using a black and white scenario versus the LCDs with the standard printers that we're using are using. I'm not even watching chat. I just see Taz giggling and whatever, so I'm not reading it.
Well, you're a coffee cup, so no one knows what you're doing.
I know, and I'm putting those clothes on, man.
I'm out of here if you do. I'm just saying. It'll be like, Taz is gone.
Well, Bolos, just real quick, I've got to check WeChat one more time, and then that's going to be it for them guys bugging me tonight in a minute here. That's why I haven't bothered popping back on. With resin, forget what you know about FDM printers. That's one of the biggest piece of advice that I could give you is just when you're playing with the resin printer, just forget about your FDM printers and everything like that because a lot of the laws that apply don't.
Right.
And one of them is going to be resin. For like $20, $25 for a liter of resin, which is a lot, by the way. Okay, 25 bucks for a liter of resin is nothing. We just a couple short years ago, the average liter of resin was about 70 or $80, and we just got used to paying that all the time. So, it's not as expensive as you think, and making bigger life size models and things like that isn't as hard as you think either. You'll do it in 1/10 of the time that you could ever possibly hope to with an FDM printer. And cost wise, there's a lot of people that say, oh, the resin costs so much. It costs so much in comparison to FDM. Well, it's like that tool conversation we were having earlier. There's kind of a little bit of a give and take where you are going to be spending just a little bit more money, but you're also going to be getting a much better end result for it. And once you
Right.
get used to doing this, and the cool thing about the resin printers is there's a lot less to learn. You're not going to have to mess with half of the crap that you've had to learn with FDM with that you're going to deal with the resin printers, and you're you're going to start wearing drag too, Bolus. You watch. You'll find a shade or a chromatic variant on sequins that is just going to do it for you, man. It's going to match with that fucking nail polish, and you're going to go to town. You're going to say, Earl, you were right, man. You were fucking right, and I hate you for it. My dog won't even come in the room now. I'll be right back. I gotta hit WeChat. I'll be right back. Mark my words.
If he comes
Yeah,
back
I knew
singing
you. I was
Sweet
waiting for the
Transvestite and
okay.
comes on screen, I'm done.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, man. I know it's very ominous, isn't it? Because I can't see him either because he's got my screen off too. So my actual chat screen, he never puts his face on. So but yeah, I'm kind of excited because I actually ordered all that stuff. Get the old two back. We bring him on for single subjects because he likes to stay on one the whole time. He has a certain amount of range, and it isn't usually in one conversation. The other old dude, not Earl. No, thank you. Because I actually watched that.
Holy shit, what? No way in hell, man.
What?
The bikini thing.
That's what I said. I said I'll pass. Just the thought of that hurt me.
I don't think there's going to be any of us, okay, that would do well with that. So let's just quit
Things you
fucking.
can't unsee, even that's not even near what I'm thinking. I just no, we'll pass.
Like I said, after a month of all of us being in this state of confusion and everything like that, I'm sure everybody out there could stand to hit the gym.
No, I look good, man. I make this look good. I think as of May 3rd, I'm 49, so I'm still younger than you, so I can still pull that card. So there you go.
Yeah, but you know,
I just
dude,
turned
you left
49.
your camera on the other day, and I caught you shaving your ass. You missed a few letters there, Mike. That's grapefruits.
Yeah, I actually watched Naomi's video on the CR6. I'm not impressed.
Yeah, still a fucking Bowden.
That's what I don't get. Why do they keep going back to the friggin' Bowden for every printer? It's
It's
like,
a
guys,
cult,
come
man.
on.
It's a cult.
I mean, it could have been so much better.
And dude, Creality knows, okay, that they've got the following. They could pretty much release shit. I mean, okay, I'm gonna hurt some people's feelings, especially if you're watching the stream, kind of hiding in the background and never saying anything. But okay, the Creality resin printer sucks balls. Okay. It sucks balls in comparison to the other stuff that's out there. Well, I got them in my place and they work fine and everything. Well, you don't fucking know any better. So,
You're a trained Creality monkey.
yeah. Well, I have used Form Labs and everything like that. Well, you were stupid too. Okay. We've all played with Form Labs and realized that they're overpriced and not necessary anymore. Okay, this brings up the subject of, guys, I love Joseph. Okay, Joseph Prusa has given, regardless of his marketing, his strategies, and everything like that, he was the forerunner of bringing all of this stuff that we're playing with now out into the open and making it mainstream. You got to give him that. Okay. The whole copying somebody is the best form of flattery and everything like that. Most of these companies out there wouldn't have even thought they'd be playing with something else if that didn't exist. Okay, they'd be
Right.
partially ripping something else off. With the resin printers and stuff like that, Form Labs was, as far as mainstream goes, and Form Labs was one of the first. Now, I'm from the jewelry industry, and before Forms Labs became, public knowledge, if you will, for years we had already been working with the same stuff in the jewelry industry. And I can tell you about a very expensive $22,000, basically a wax resin printer, okay, that was a worthless piece of shit and nothing more of a headache. or 10 times more of a headache than any FDM printer you guys have ever seen and had problems with yourself personally. So, Roxas, and if you're used to, I have to throw this in there because I just don't want to let it go. If you're able to, get it for cheap and play with it, that's fine. My take, personally, just from what I've seen, have worked with, result-wise and everything like that, there's comparable quality across the board with a lot of these printers and things like that, okay? But there are some real subtle details and things like that after you work with these things for a long time that you tend to notice. If you look on the Creality boards, not just the one that the vendors run, if you look on some of the Creality boards and things like that, they've got just the same amount of fucked up prints as any other brand out there, and in some cases more. They're having issues with that printer that we had back in the early days of the Wanhao D7 range and the early Frozen and Anycubic days, and they still ain't fixed it. Okay, however, there are other companies, like Frozen is a good company. Frozen's an awesome company. And Elegoo Mars is beating the hell out of these other companies because they're putting out a solid damn product. And they're constantly improving it. Creality's idea of an improvement is come out with another model of printer.
And a different screen. That's what they're
throw some marketing on it and maybe put a new model of Naomi Wu on it. And guys, Naomi, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it in a bad sense or a bad fashion, but I really think that they exploit you. And whether you care or not, that's your business or whatever. I like Naomi so much that I feel that she's exploited by that company, okay? And at the same time, I just don't agree with that type of marketing.
Well, like I said, it works for her, so I'm not complaining. And she's actually really knowledgeable, so don't get me wrong. But I had to laugh because you could tell she wasn't. I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, but I didn't get the impression she was overly thrilled with the printer when she was doing the review. I mean, she was saying all the keywords, but her actions and her facial expressions said something totally different to me.
Made it sound scripted.
Yeah, it made it sound like, she's just playing the role. And I just saw my mic spike, so it might be right. I don't know what the hell that is.
Yeah, it went into the red on my end too.
That was really weird. But I just didn't get the feeling that it was a true. I mean, I had to laugh at some of the outtakes because she first put it together and she actually put the connector over the gantry, over the top of the printer and onto the gantry. So, and in the next clip, you see it's actually where it's supposed to be and then all tied up neatly. It was kind of funny. And then she went to a different filament altogether. So the stuff that came in the kit was garbage, that she had to use a special kind of filament for it to work right. I mean, auto level, and I hate when they say auto level because it's not automatically leveling anything. That drives me up a wall. It's not auto leveling. You still have to level the plate before you use it. I mean, I'm sorry, the video made it look like she just put it together and ran the auto level. And I highly doubt that happened.
Yeah, I don't want to overly critique her video either because all of the content creators that actually make a living off of doing that are having a hard time right now for content. There's only so much you can do, and when the companies that are producing these things are so slowed down, you're kind of, the pickings are kind of slim. Good consumer level resin printer then, Roxas. I've poked around with the recent Frozen stuff. I've seen the early Elegoo Mars. I'm going to leave Creality out of this, anyways. And some of the other companies, I'm not even going to touch base on. And okay, Anycubic. I've seen the quality of prints, and that doesn't make as much difference to me on the surface as does the overall operation and the quality of the actual parts and how they're built on the inside. Because what's different between these and the FDM printers, you're going to be getting your hands dirty with stuff that you could get away with not doing on the FDM printers. Changing LCDs is a scary chore. Now, I say this, just for anybody who's new, who may even say that you're new to FDM printing, okay, and opening up the bottom of the case is going to freak you out. Just doing something like the firmware, okay. The if I had to rank those three, let's just go with Elegoo Mars, Anycubic, and Frozen. It's going to be right now Elegoo Mars, Frozen, and Anycubic. Anycubic is kind of taking the cheap route with some stuff, and they're, in comparison to the others, not standing alone, but in comparison to the others, they're tanking in comparison to the other two. And I say that as somebody who, back in the day, working with the Wanhao D7s and the D8s and the early Anycubics, um, uh, and the early Frozens too, they were nightmares. Okay, so again, this is 2020, and we should expect a lot more. But some things that very few companies have really taken into consideration is, as a consumer, you've got to dive into that printer, and you're going to be touching stuff that if you twist it the wrong way, bend it the wrong way, you're breaking it. Throw it away, and you just trashed a $30, $50, $60, $80 LCD. Throw it away, you just broke it. You cannot be impatient with these printers. You can't cut corners. You can't hurry up and get it done. It's just, this is going to be something, if you have like a relaxing scenario, if you got to do any maintenance internally on your resin printers, walk away from it for 10 or 15 minutes. If something that calms you down, if you need to, drop a shot of bourbon or whatever, walk away from, go walk the dog or something and breathe a little bit before you get back to it. Don't get all freaked out that you got to crack it open and I don't want to do this. I just want to hurry up and get it done, because all it takes is the wrong twist. And I've done it myself, swapping LCDs on a resin printer. We used to have to take, and fortunately they come this way for the most part now without what's called the backlights. We used to get the LCDs in, and we used to have to peel the backlights off ourselves. Okay, and if you're not gentle with it, crack $30. Well, at the time, some of the earlier ones, and when we were first diving into like the 5-inch LCDs and stuff like that, $90 out the door. I just broke it. I waited 2 fucking weeks for it, and I just broke it. Don't touch your printer at that stage. Get up and walk away from it. Otherwise, you're going to hate it, But that's the thing.
Is this one working good?
Is what?
Is this microphone working good?
I can hear you.
Is it any better not clipping or?
No, it wasn't clip. There was just for a second there. If you're touching something, it kind of
moving the volume up because you said you couldn't hear it.
Yeah, it just kind of crinkled. Maybe just, I don't have your gain down or anything. I got your gain up on my end all the way. So.
Okay, I just switched to the overhead mic. So.
Okay. Yeah,
I just want to see if I get less clipping and they get more of my audio, because I'm getting a little hurt by my mic picking on me all the time. So.
Yeah, Bullis Anycubic came about because there were so many frustrated Wanhao D7 users. Anycubic jumped right in, and that's where they got their foothold. And when you do that, you need to maintain your steam and everything like that. And Frozen came shortly after that and just took everybody by storm. But Frozen had a bit of a heftier price tag to it. Then eventually, Frozen has slowly chipped away at the market for Anycubic and kind of set them off to the wayside. Wanhao's not going anywhere. That's just never going to happen. Taz or Bolos, are you giving Taz shit because he's getting frustrated? Here, you guys aren't going to see this, but if tell me if you hear Taz scream. Hey Taz, look at this. Did he scream?
Why would I?
Never mind. Anyways.
Because you put the cup of coffee up.
Oh, that isn't that isn't what was in the window.
That's what popped up for me.
I know, and consider yourself lucky.
Such an ass.
Anyway, you got to pay.
I don't want people having sound issues because when I'm actually saying something and I actually get a word in edgewise, I'd like them to hear me. So that's only where I went. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I can hear you good. But well, anyways, and how this relates to the other companies, it's not so much the print quality that you're going to get on the outside that there's a whole great deal of difference. There are subtle differences, and that's kind of another reason why I made the choices that I did. The other thing is, like I said, that internal maintenance. In comparison, I would consider an Anycubic worse to deal with than the Frozen, and the Frozen only slightly worse to deal with, but also having more expensive replacement parts as the downside over the Elegoo Mars. All of the insides and the internals that I've seen on the Elegoo Mars are a dream to play with, as opposed to, and I'm going to leave Frozen out of this because Frozen is okay too, but they're again a more expensive printer. Anycubic and the Creality junk that's out there, and the no-name brands, don't even mess with those. The other ones that are out there on the market, don't even mess with those right now. You're not going to do anybody any good by saving $30 and supporting a company that is just basically riding on the coattails of the popularity and not going to give you any decent support. Bolos, 2K screens are going to be good for just about everybody on the face of the fucking planet. The whole 4K thing is, again, just it's an evolution. Okay, just
it better be Roxas. Let me tell you, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it better be the way to go because he recommended it.
Yeah, if you're looking to get a resin printer, go with the Mars, man. That's you're going to have a better experience with it. Just overall, and okay, I'm not trashing Creality because I don't like the people that I've met and been indirectly involved with from time to time with Creality. I just don't like and I don't trust them. That's a better way to put it. I don't trust them.
Well, I'm happy with my 2 Ender 3 Pros. I mean, I was happy enough to buy a second one. But now it's like they're regurgitating the Ender. I mean, the Ender was a good printer. Don't get me wrong. But then you look at the CR10, the CR10 Pro. They're not really being creative anymore. They kind of like lost. I don't know. They're not even trying.
Mike, I've seen the early beta. Excuse me, the early version of the Saturn firsthand. And that's one of the other printers I've got in line that's going to be here, and I'm going to put that in as a production printer. That's, bigger format and everything like that. If you got the money to spend on it, and once it's readily available for everybody and you can get a hold of one, if you want the bigger format, jump on it. And
yeah, this was my delve into this was, I wanted something smaller to start with because I wanted to learn it before I jumped into a big unit.
Yeah, I'll recommend with anybody, just get these smaller formats, because while you're learning, Um, it will it will get expensive to make a mistake if you go with a big format printer. Okay, like I said, we're really going to touch base on working with these printers too and using them effectively and cost effectively and efficiently. But that isn't anything that we can cover in this stream. I mean, I could go till 6 o'clock in the morning talking about this stuff, but I don't want to either. I'm not too far off from losing my voice as it is. So, um, where are we? Yeah, holy hell hour.
I
Yeah,
was just like I said, they ran a big thing about these new printers, and I'm looking, and they're all the same. And it's like they remade the Ender 6 different ways. Wow.
well,
It just really excited me. I just was really excited to buy another Creality printer after that.
the jump between the early resin printers that we had to the refined 2K printers that are available right now that some of you guys are buying and purchasing and everything like that. The quality, the overall consistency and print quality was great. Okay, going from 2K to 4K, and here we go again. I'll throw down with these guys out there that want to argue the shit just to sell something. The jump from 2K to 4K is so marginal.
It's like the
Um,
TV. Same thing with TVs.
as a jeweler, okay, as somebody who works with the really super fine detail stuff and everything like that, 2K is a dream. And I've seen and had and worked with 4K prints. I can, yeah, when I'm looking with a loop, okay, and I'm actually diving right down into something, right down at that level, I can see some finer details that are slightly different, but I can get pretty much the same thing with my 2K or A2K in comparison. And for the currently the expensive difference, it's like the 6 month or 1 year rule. I got a rule with processors. Whenever I'm building like a new gaming rig or something like that, you never buy a processor the year they come out. Okay, back in my days in Hawaii and everything like that, when I was in the electronics tech industry selling that shit and everything like that, I was an Intel insider, blah 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 blah, and you just learn the first batch of any of that stuff that's being sold, and that also applies to these printers. You're just paying for product development. Okay, they know it's not refined. They know they're going to be coming out with newer versions of it, and somebody has to do it. Let the idiots out there that want to jump on that bandwagon that think that they're jumping leaps and bounds ahead of everybody by going 4K over 2K. 2K is refined. Okay, 4K is relatively new and susceptible to issues. Ha.
And like I said, I associated to the TVs. All these people went, oh, it's 4K resolution. It's like, can your eyes see 4K? Not really. I mean, they just want you to buy new stuff. Nothing to add to that? You're frozen?
No, I'm just giving you a chance to talk and giving my throat a little bit of a break.
That's the way I look at it is like they start that stuff where they start competing on resolutions. It's like at a certain point, you're not going to notice the difference. I mean, that's where I'm at with it. I'm not going to jump in with both feet to something more expensive just because it's the brand new thing out there. It's the same thing these guys got caught up with. Do I have a version 1 or a version 4 on the artillery printer? It's not that huge of a leap.
My late 1, 2, and early 3s are printing just as good as the version 4s. They
Well, I
they
mean, I can't speak to like 3 or 4, but because I have a 1 and a 2, and they're both fine.
Yeah, I'm just saying there really hasn't been any major if anything, and we can all agree there's just been some subtle backwards movement.
Yeah,
Those connectors, the
that totally miffed me on that one.
yeah,
I get what they're saying, but it's just like teach people, don't fix something that didn't need to be fixed.
yeah. Hang on, that's the WeChat thing again. I'm gonna shut that off this time. I'll be right back.
That's what you said last time. See,
No, I didn't though.
Earl Eyes. See that?
Well, I'm waiting on
Put that
some.
out there.
I'm waiting on some news that I was kind of hoping I could drop on everybody, and
I'm just kidding, man.
it's at the stage now where I'm just wanting it for myself so I can giggle shit about it. That's all.
I'm gonna put it real close for you after I bend everything and break it. How's that? Is that better? Nice and close for you? I don't want to turn it up too high because it starts picking up the background noise in the house. But I think someone was asking something because Earl sidetracks me sometimes here. You want to hear the hush hush talk on the new artillery? It's not going to be like the V2, V3, V4. The ones coming out are not going to be like that. So you're not going to be buying like a, remanded version 4. Yeah, well, it's his channel, so I give him that leeway. I'm just a guest. But yeah, from what I've seen and heard, it's not going to be like buying another one you already have. So I just don't know when they're going to release all the specifics on it. And as I don't have an inside track on that, I don't want to say anything. But I don't get the same impression I get from Creality with how they put out a brand new printer that winds up being an Ender 3 with auto bed leveling. And the new screen. I give them the new screen. Other than that, nothing impressive enough to make me buy one. It's unfortunate. Because I actually might have bought one, but not after what I saw. And like I said, even their fives and stuff are like it's like the same build plate. It's like if you're gonna do a Core XY style printer, why would you use the same build plate as you have on an Ender 3? Who the hell wants that? I know I don't. I mean, I want scale options so I can reduce my print time or get a project done all at once without having to slice it up 6 different ways. That really annoys me. I mean, I want to fail big. If I'm going to fail, I want it to fail like the 20th hour in on a giant size project the size of my head. I don't want it to be sliced up into little pieces so it works and I can glue it together. I want to be able to build something like that. So I did like that one print though. The guy that got his little cable through the window. That was awesome. I mean, you couldn't have got a better print than that. Happened at just the right time and just the right spot. That was cool. Wasn't cool for him, I'm sure. Because now you got to decide: do I take all the wires apart to get it off the print, or do I cut into the print and just glue it back together? Depends on how important that print was, I suppose.
Alrighty. Nothing yet. So, anyways, I'm not far from losing my voice here, folks.
Well, we could call it a night. There don't seem to be too many questions right now. So
Yeah, well, there's about 20, 25, 30 people watching across both ends.
I think they start asking me questions when you're talking, just so I get frustrated.
Well, that's why I walk away.
No, I'm saying I think they wait to ask the questions to me when you come back.
Well, yeah, that's because it takes me 20 minutes to answer a question. But you actually have a whole library that you can uh, copy to your computer or download to your computer and use for reference.
I don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
Oh, hey, Len, that's cool. Did you get a Sidewinder or did you get a Genius? Hope I didn't catch him while he was tightening something down.
Yeah, right.
I just
You don't
thought
have
of
to
that.
answer if you're stuck on a gantry part or something. It's okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get another genius to play with, so we'll see. We shall see. Wow. I'm kind of used to streaming now, so I don't really lose my voice too much.
Yeah, I've been, being that I live and play in what can be considered an adult treehouse, I've gone, oh, 2 years now with primarily being by myself with me and my doggy. My wife and son are in Hawaii and have a family house in Hawaii there. And I'm here doing things, getting money built up and getting things set aside to move on to bigger and better things a little further down the road. Additionally, just background, I can't stand Hawaii. Sorry. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends, a lot of people I consider Ohana in Hawaii. But Hawaii just didn't work out for me, both for what I do as far as art goes, artistry goes, and business. My tour of duty in Hawaii was involved with working both for Best Buy, and at the end of my tour of duty, I got headhunted a little bit for Microsoft. During my time with that, I was involved with very heavy with Android development and Microsoft Windows 8 development. Um, I bailed from Hawaii right around the Snowden fiasco that happened, and that's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. The tech field, electronics, computers, um, uh, mobile devices, and things like that, I did well. I was working my way up in the companies to go somewhere with it. And what it really boiled down to was Hawaii, Oahu, anyways, is a 40-mile island that uh, has water on all sides. And as a boy who grew up in Michigan deer hunting and roaming, uh,
Have a good night, Robert.
Robert, yeah, take it easy. As a boy who is used to roaming and everything like that, it didn't take me very long or too many years of living in Hawaii to figure out that I was stuck on a rock in the middle of an ocean, couldn't go any further. So me and my wife decided, hey, we're going to consider, we might as well just go back to the mainland thing and everything like that. And rather than dragging my family out here and pretty much having to start all over again, is a lot easier for me to actually come here and start doing this stuff the way we're doing it now. Um, Plus, it's nice in the respect. I prefer to keep Hawaii as a place to go visit and vacation to, as opposed to living there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the food, I love the people, and everything like that. But man, if any of you have suffered bad traffic, you have no idea what traffic is like until you've tried to travel 1/4 of a mile in an hour and a half. Yeah, places like New York, heavy spots in Detroit, and I'm sure Chicago and some of these other big cities can kind of get the same way. But Hawaii has a streaming or screaming. I missed what you mean by that, Bullis. Oh, what am I talking about? Um,
He's rambling. That's what he's talking about.
hey, this is after hours. We're all sitting around a
He's,
bar talking
he's giving you
drunken.
the history of Earl.
Yeah, talking around drunken shit. Anyways, okay, Hawaii for me sucked, so I moved to the mainland, and how that translates. I've been by myself for the last 2 years, and I talk very little. All of my
But he makes up for it here a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, damn it. All of my interaction and everything, for the most part, has been all of my interaction has been typing. I can't stand typing. Ask Taz. We start chatting on Messenger and stuff like that a little bit every now and then, and eventually I just say, go over to voice, man. I've been typing all fucking day. Plus, you zesty people out there who consistently send me the 100 PMs a day that I dutifully and diligently try to answer every morning when I get up and everything like that. I want to
I
cut into you.
I dread powering up Facebook. I really do. I'm like, what happened when I went to sleep for like 5 minutes?
Yeah, Bolos, it's story time with Fen, man. You got to follow along. That's also why the streams are kept for archival purposes on the channels and everything like that. When you want to bore yourself half to death, just fire it back up and it'll put you to sleep.
See, when Earl was a wee little boy,
Yes, Mike. Yeah, having a Filipino wife who happens to enjoy the soup. Okay. Yeah, I've had balut. I don't particularly care for it. Um,
isn't that eel?
no, basically baby ducks
Baby ducks.
in the
Okay, my bad.
eggs. Yeah, it's kind of funny. And I'm gonna trail off, Bullos. Get ready, man.
Here we go.
Anyways,
Back in my day.
when I had my leather shop in Michigan, after I left the leather company that I worked for and then many years ago, and blah 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 blah. Get off of my lawn. the, I had a leather shop, and it was tailored after a turn of the century cobbler shop. I had a friend in the business who was a old saddle maker. Now, some of you guys know who John Wayne is. This is kind of like a Clint Eastwoody John Wayne. Okay, a lot of wisdom and everything like that. He's an old saddle maker guy who happened to ride a mule. All right. The mule has nothing to do with this, Bolo, so I just figured I'd throw that in there just for your benefit. So, anyways, we brought up the subject of balut one time at one of the dinners that we were having, and the saddle maker guys are sitting next to me. And my wife went through and explained to him exactly what balut was. And the look on this guy's face was just, wrinkled up. Now, picture a Clint Eastwoody John Wayne looking right back at her with as much seriously as you, or yeah. And he just said, "You got to let him grow up first." It was like a Jed Clampett, a hard tack, badass Jed Clampett looking at her and say, "You got to let him grow up first." Was I wearing an onion on my belt? No. No, but I have put calamansi in my pocket for luck going to a job interview in Hawaii thanks to my mother-in-law. So I don't know if that counts. Calamansi has nothing to do with that mule that the guy rode either. That same mule shit in front of my store, and I've got a picture of that. I'll get that for you one of these days, Bulls. Yeah, exactly.
Smash that like button.
Well, something I want to bring up, okay, there's still like 20 some odd people, and there's a lot of quiet people that don't bother typing anything in chat, but I'll bet half of you guys are the ones that come after us in the groups and things like that. The topics for some of these streams and things like that, what kind of stuff do you guys got on your mind for, stuff you guys want to learn about, stuff you want to work around or work with, stuff that you can't figure out? And before you start answering that on the stream, what I'm going to ask is, why don't you guys go to the Facebook groups or even on some of the comments on the YouTube or the Twitch channel? Why don't you guys start up some polls and crap like that and start throwing some topic ideas out there? I mean, I've got tons of stuff that I plan on doing, but...
He wants to learn about mules.
Oh, no problem there.
You're such an ass. Anyway.
Mark my words. Come stream time next week, we're going to have the Bullos 5. We'll have the Bullos 5. That's cool, though. And I know you want Gandalf back too, right? Gandalf the Grape. He'll probably.
Someone's gotta want it.
Yeah, guys, I'm just about out for my voice. I know I probably couldn't have or shouldn't have wasted it all on the mules and everything like that, but yep. I think we're going to be just about done here. There's, like I said, there's still about 20 some odd people watching and everything like that. It got up kind of high. I didn't look at those numbers for a while, but I think people are kind of getting tired. I'm running out of stuff to drink too, so over the next few days or so. That's the TTY, my favorite happy filament to try to say the name for, but instead I just call it the titty filament. That's the TTY copper.
That's awesome stuff.
Yeah.
I love the TTYT 3D copper.
It's titty filament. Titty.
That's awesome.
Hey,
stuff works great.
We can have our own form of titties on our channel for subs. Titty channel. Titty filament. Yeah. That's what that stuff is. Bullis, you knocked me off of where I was going. I was actually going to be able to close out gracefully, damn it.
It never happens.
Hey, guys, I won't shoot that poll down as long as the poll starts out with a valid couple of subjects. If one of you guys kind of drop in there the drag or the Gandalf in a bikini, I won't nuke it. I might
nuke it. I don't want to see that.
Well, not out of the Facebook group. You can't. I'm an admin. Anyways, um, over the next few days, I'm going to be releasing that really long-winded. If you think my talking is long-winded, you'll be able to read for 10 minutes straight. The article and presentation with regards to modding and upgrading your 3D printer with some of the more touchy subjects that have been brought up in the groups and some of the other forums with regards to artillery printers. But the
Well,
same,
guys get so bad about that like to mod, and I'm not one to say modding is bad because I'm one of the
no,
biggest
never
offenders.
have.
They all take it like that, but they don't understand. A new guy or a new user shouldn't be looking at mods to fix their prints.
Right.
Mods are meant for something of a personal preference once you've gotten used to using your printer and you want to try something different. Not when you're trying to fix something. If you're trying to fix something, try and stay as much stock as you can. And there's a good reason behind it. Do one thing here and remember what it is so you can go back. If you do multiple things to try and fix something, you're going to lose track and not figure out which one did what. And then you're going to be stuck. And then you're going to be, this printer sucks, or the support is worthless, because you're going to get frustrated and not realize what you did to mess it up yourself. That's about where I'm at with it. Because like I said, I'm the biggest offender of modding my printers. Every one of my printers in this office is modded, literally.
Being quiet and agreeing with everything you said. I don't
Yes.
have the little 3 or 4. What is that symbol called? Your Shift 6 key. What is that little shit called?
The
The little up.
100% thing?
No, the little upward arrow.
Oh, the up carrot?
Whatever the hell that thing's called.
It's
We'll
called an
call
up
it.
carrot.
We'll call it a nub. I don't have 3 little nubs that I can throw up to. Yeah, what he said. It's yeah, what he said. All right, guys. I think we're done for
There you
tonight.
go. This is our new sign for up carrot.
You know, that's getting really, really close to. It's getting really, really close to this, man. Dare I say it for the stream? No homo.
Oh.
Oh well. There goes our fucking monetization helmet editor thinks we're getting. Yeah. Len,
Well, Len, I got a whole set of videos on printed mods you can do,
yeah.
which will help you out. You can print stuff to make your printer look cool, and some of it is functional. So you can check out my YouTube channel and take a look. It's 3D Printing Addiction.
Yeah, throw your exclamation Taz up so that links in the last bit of chat here.
Oh, I got to type, which is horrible on my end.
Ah, there we go. See, I have a.
Oh, that's where you got them from. Good. Like I said, at least I know I like helping people, so at least I know I'm helping somebody. Because sometimes I wonder.
Oh yeah, if anybody else knows the user that has been on the stream last week, Grumpy Enough, I was kind of
Yeah.
expecting. Yeah, I was kind of expecting him to show up. He's the guy that won the 50-15 fan last week, and I can't figure out for the life of me, and I feel really stupid for letting it slide by like that. But he took off before we did the roll for the giveaway last week. I can't figure out how to get a hold of him.
Yeah, I don't
know. If anybody sees him or...
Can you message him through this?
You know, I tried and I couldn't pull anything up, but it just might have been me being a dumbass and not looking in the right spot. I'll have to try
I
looking
thought you
again.
could click on their name and get like a personal message to them. I could be wrong. I haven't tried it, so.
I'll give that a try. I'll give that a try. I didn't even totally think of that either. Anyways, I want to get that to him. Either way,
He said to give it to me.
I
Sure he
wasn't.
did, Bullos.
I wasn't even. I wasn't even going to respond to that. The look for the big article over the next few days, and I'm going to try to get everything announced for the stream early next week. What's going to be happening next weekend? I hopefully have another surprise or two for you guys. And if all goes as planned and as expected, we'll have some daily doses on Monday and Wednesday. The times will be in the schedule on the Twitch
Good night,
stream.
Tracy.
Yeah, Tracy, thanks for showing up. Hey, anybody else? Thanks for showing up tonight. If you haven't done so, like, follow, subscribe to get notifications.
Smash that dislike button.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, go for it. And again, throw some polls up in the groups or something like that. If you guys got some ideas, as long as they're not too obscure and relatively on topic, something we might not have thought of, something you guys want to. Yeah, I try, Bolus. I try. If there's something you guys want to see or you'd like to see, let us know. We'll jump right in.
I got some grooming tips for Bullos.
Oh, how to manscape with your FDM printer.
Right?
Bullos, we've got a stream for you next week. Taz, no shaving this week. We got to save it all for Friday.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll grow it out.
Down there, too. Hey, guys, everybody, thanks again for showing up. We'll talk to you later. Take care. Sayonara.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.